talking about motherhood, Leah, you sort of said, you know, talking about what is a good mother, and Gena, you were saying about good enough. Can you say a little more about that? You know, let's talk a little bit about motherhood. What do you feel, or what have you learned is good enough, or what have you learned is a good mum? Because that's what we're often getting, isn't it? Is that we're having mums. Well, all of us here are mums, and all of us here have felt at times that we're not doing a good job, because that seems to come part and parcel with being a mum, is often experiencing that mum guilt, or, you know, having expectations on ourselves, maybe other people having expectations on us, what society says a good mum is. You know, what are the messages that are out there that are helpful or unhelpful, and what do you think is more helpful?
I find this question surfaces in almost every single one of my assessments or in all of my counseling sessions with moms, like what makes a good mom. And every single one of my clients is struggling to be the best mom and has a conception of what that is. And it's a really good question to ask. What is a good mom? And I often really question, what is that? What is a good mom? Is a good mom that does all the things, or is a good mom that ticks all the boxes or never lets anyone down and is always ahead of the game? And I think about what a good mom is all the time, and I'm constantly trying to be the good mom, but I think the definition needs to be looked at. And so that I do ask that question a lot. Like, let's really look at what the definition of a good mom is. Is a good mom always with the mom who has a clean house, or the kids are always up to school on time, or feeding their kids balanced meals? Is that the definition? Or is a good mom a loving mom, or a present mom, or a mom that's honest about how hard it is, or a mom that advocates for herself, or a mom that is honest that things are hard and is compassionate to herself? Or is it a mom that says it's been a hard day and I'm going to have a break and I'm going to show my children that that's okay too? Is that a good mom? And so just expanding the definition, I think, is really important.
Yeah.
So I really do try to do that, because we focus on a definition that's so prescriptive or that looks so polished to the world, but really, I don't think that's really the right definition necessarily.
Yeah. Just in case anyone's watching the video, there's like a little fluff ball that just came into your picture briefly.
His mom has a little fluff ball in the background. No.
You're a fur baby mom as well. Yeah. So, Gena, would you like to add to that?
It's definitely something we're always exploring, is that conversation. People will often say, I'm not good enough, you know, I'm not doing a good enough job. And I say, but who defined that good enough for you? Like, is that by your definition, or is someone telling you that, or did you watch TV, or did you see it on social media? You know, where are you getting your baseline from? Where are you drawing this stuff from? And why is that important? And then for me, it's often about the why. Like, why did you have kids in the first place? You know, what are your hopes and dreams for your children, and how do we get there? You know, and what do you need to do in order to facilitate these hopes and dreams for your kids? You know, someone talked to me recently about wanting that they couldn't remember their childhood, and they wanted to remember their kids to remember their childhood. And so for her, it was like, what are the memories that I need to make? You know, and and so we have those conversations, but then I also have, conversation around what expectations are you putting on yourself that are actually causing more harm than good. Are you making this idealized picture of a mum because that's what you want to be, but actually you're striving so hard to do that you're burning yourself out, or you're missing opportunities because you're like, I'll ignore that because I have to focus on this. And so it's such an interesting conversation. And I whether it's right or wrong, will often say that I'm pretty blunt, or not blunt, but honest about that. Actually, being a mum is really hard, and sometimes it's not much fun. And and a lot of a lot of the reward, a lot of the reward comes much later. And so you sometimes you're doing this job that's kind of thankless. But you should find some joy in that moment. That you have to kind of find the small parts throughout these little day in day out jobs so that it's not so tough. I guess. But it's okay to say, look, this is really hard and I'm not enjoying this in an overall picture, but also still find joy in your child and enjoy in the everyday. And I think it's very multi-layered, but I think encouraging mums to find their joy, I think. And I actually think that was something that Leah taught me right from when in very early supervision, and she had mentioned in one of her groups about people finding joy in their week. And I always hear that, and I always think about that. So maybe it wasn't you, Leah, but I'm sure it was.
Well, no, I always think about the woman in the supermarket who says, oh, they grow up so fast, make sure you enjoy every minute. And it's like, right, I'm supposed to enjoy them having a tantrum, not going to sleep, throwing the food on the ground. Like, it's not realistic. So I often say, find a moment to enjoy.
A moment,
a moment, just one in the day, and really focus on that one and don't worry about the others.
That's far more realistic. And I mean, I have to say, I was actually weirdly was thinking about this today, because as a mother of a 13-year-old, he gets quite sick of it. Actually, he rolls his eyes a wee bit because I'm always like, weren't you so cute when you're 4? And he's like, I'm still cute. I'm like, yes, you are. But I just miss that little boy. And I feel like if only I had a time machine and I could go and visit every single stage, because it does go so fast. But at the same time, the hard part is that you're kind of surviving it in many respects.
Feel really slow when you're in the minute, and
when you're in it feels really slow.
Every day is groundhog.
And then suddenly it's like, because actually I tell people, look, we don't actually have 18 years. We kind of have 12 if we're lucky, really, genuinely, because from then on they're starting to move into adulthood, but more and more and more. And they sort of pull away from you during their teen years and stuff. So it's not. But at the time you're surviving because most of the time you're just so exhausted, But I think those moments, and often those moments are when we're really, really present. And for me, when you're noticing the moment, you're noticing, how beautiful he looks when he's sleeping, and how lovely that cuddle feels, and it's or how nice it is just to tell him, just to kind of praise him or whatever as he's doing something new, or whatever that, playing something silly, together, having a laugh or whatever it is. It's when you're really, really present, I think, and that's really hard to be present as a mum, because you're juggling so many things, including your own needs, which are not necessarily being met.